Mother, I've been doing math again. Sorry. Hello, Mixtresses and Mixters. This is Mixtress Ray. You're watching Mixtress video. I am doing sort of an addendum to my last video, which was week 3 of Dumbphone Life. I realized that there was a bunch of stuff that I didn't say. I want to adjust this shot just a tiny bit. There we go. There we go. That's a little bit better. And let's burn incense too, shall we? I realized that there were several things that I didn't say that I wanted to say because I was distracted by getting ready for work. And so I just didn't end up saying very much in that video, I feel. Other than just like mundane, like related to what I was doing at the moment. So I thought I would continue here. So what I'm gonna, okay, let me just tell you what I'm gonna talk about in this video so that you know what to expect. Because my videos are fucking long, so I might as well do that, right? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go through a list. Is there a way that I can put this in the shot, kind of? I'm going to go through a list of issues that... Hold on, I can't see where the hole is. Okay, there we go. That's what she said. Okay. Been watching a lot of Office lately. Sure, let's make it so that you can just see the smoke coming out. Beautiful, right? Beautiful. Okay. I could even bring a couple other beautiful things into the shot, just for funsies, because you're just going to be staring at this still life the whole time, pretty much. So I'm going to talk to you about the things that I wrote in my journal that I thought would be an issue before I bought a dumb phone. So I'm treating this as kind of like almost like a frequently asked questions, because I feel like the issues that I thought I would have with Dumbphone Life would perhaps mirror issues that other people might think that they would have with Dumbphone Life. I feel like the camera moved back to where I don't know, I need a new tripod. I've been saying that for years. Okay. So I'm going to go through the list of the things that I thought would be an issue and how I have handled those things in my first 3 weeks of flip phone, feature phone, Dumbphone Life. And I'm also going to review I'm going to go over some math, because I did some calculations about how much money I likely spent on smartphones and things related to smartphones in the last 14 years, because this is the most depressing stat of all, so let's just open it up with this. I'm 41 years old. I have had smartphones for 14 years. That's 34% of my fucking life. And I, personally, you're probably not going to enjoy this video if you're all in for smartphones, because I am getting more and more radicalized in my own thoughts too. Like, this isn't influenced by anything except just through the experience of switching to a phone that doesn't have internet connectivity. I would put the phone in this shot, but it's downstairs because I don't even keep it on me that much anymore. So there's that. Yeah, I just want to kind of hopefully be a little bit more thorough than I was in the video that I just posted for you guys yesterday or the day before. So let's start with the issues. So I've got my journal here, not pictured. Here's what it looks like. It's a beautiful journal that my friend Grace gave me. Thank you, Grace, if you're watching. I love it. I've been using it since January 9th. So it has lasted me by the time I finish it, it'll probably be like September or October when I finish it. So it will get me through almost the whole year. It's been really nice. Anyway, so issues that I thought I would have with Dumbphone Lifestyle. You know, because I was like journaling about like, you know, essentially like what it ended up being is like I was scared to live my life without a smartphone. It was like I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to live my fucking life. You know? And that's really sad. But anyway, here were some of the issues I thought I would have. I thought that I would miss having Bluetooth because I have several Bluetooth speakers that I was using quite frequently back when I had a smartphone. However, actually I can set my journal down on the table without you guys seeing it, without you guys accidentally seeing something personal. Okay, that ended up being almost every issue that I'm about to describe for you was not, it just didn't end up being an issue at all. Like at all. So there's that. Maybe I can tilt this down a little bit. Yeah, there you go. I don't know. I just keep fucking with the shot. I'm sorry, guys. This is something that, you know, better YouTubers would do before they hit record. So what ended up happening with that is that I have, let's see, 3 Bluetooth speakers that I use pretty frequently. One in the kitchen, one that is attached to my bicycle, like a handlebar, yeah, it's like a handlebar speaker. It's attached to the handlebars of my bike. And the other one is, what is the third one that I use? Oh, it's in the bathroom. Because I like to listen to music pretty much anywhere I am. So all I did was attach aux cords to those Bluetooth speakers because they all have headphone jacks. So with my bicycle, what I ended up doing, I have an old iPod Nano, an 8GB iPod Nano that I've had since 2005. And I just loaded it with like all of my current favorite songs, 8 GB worth. And what I did was I just like attached an aux cord to my handlebar speaker and just like wrapped the cord around the handlebars so that I just leave my iPod attached at all times in my basket, because of course I have a basket on my bike. Like it would be weird if I didn't, right? So basically the iPod just hangs out in the basket and I just press play when I'm going for a ride. And both my kitchen Bluetooth speaker and my bathroom Bluetooth speaker now have cords attached to them, so I just plug in my iPod anytime I want to use those speakers, which takes less time than opening up my Bluetooth settings to, you know, connect to a phone. So that hasn't been an issue at all. I do actually have Bluetooth on my dumb phone, but I have not used it. I mean, all it would be able to do is play whatever files that you've loaded to it, and I haven't been using them for that. I've just been using my iPod. So that ended up being totally a non-issue. Another issue that I thought I would have with Dumbphone Life is having my bank balance widget. And being able to like transfer funds easily between like my account and my savings and my account and Michael's account, etc. That hasn't been an issue at all. Either I do online banking from home before I leave the house, or my bank has an 800 number, so I can call it to get my balance if I'm on the go. Or I can even use it to transfer funds between different accounts. So that was a minor adjustment again. The other thing that I thought would be an issue for me is no longer having WhatsApp on me on the go. And that has been a bigger adjustment because I was used to talking to friends like anytime with my phone, and now I can't. Like I have to wait till the end of the day to catch up with them. But it's been fine. I just got used to it. I mean, I'm not on WhatsApp anymore. I'm using Signal now, but I mean, it's essentially the same thing. I got used to that, and a couple of my friends, I started texting them more instead of using a messaging app, and that's been fine too. So again, minor adjustment. My period app, I think I addressed this in another video, maybe a couple weeks ago or something, but I do keep track of my cycle on a period app. It's just so convenient. I like doing that. But I was able to install that app on my laptop. So what I do now is the two most pertinent pieces of information for me is knowing when I'm supposed to start my period and when I'm supposed to ovulate. So I just program that into the calendar that's on my dumb phone, and good to go. So yeah, I mean, it's like everything takes a little bit more mindfulness to operate in Dumbphone Life, but I actually prefer it that way. I mean, I just, like I think I said in my week 2 video, like, Dumbphone Life to me feels like driving a stick shift over driving an automatic, which I, in my life, have always chosen to drive a stick shift because I like to be a little bit more involved. And, you know, just taking it down to the simplest reason why I'm loving Dumbphone Life, it's that. It's just that. I am more involved in my day-to-day activities now. It's like quality over quantity, too, for sure, which I'll get into more once I start talking about Spotify. But the next issue that I thought I would have that I wrote in my journal, all this was on July 11th that I wrote all this shit down. It was right before I made the decision to order the dumb phone. Shared grocery list. So Michael and I had a shared reminder, you know, to keep track of what groceries we needed. That has been absolutely fine. We just got like one of those little notepads with the magnet on the back and stuck it on the fridge, which is actually easier in my mind because it's just like you're in the kitchen when you realize you're running low on something. So you just write it down. It's actually easier than trying to find your phone and putting it in the app. I don't know. It's been easier for me. So that was the opposite of an issue. Okay. Spotify. So I, before switching to a dumb phone, probably used Spotify for about 30 hours a week, I think is the calculation that makes sense to me. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if you can find that information in your Spotify account, whatever. But I think I probably used it like 30 hours a week before. And now I'm using it about 5 hours a week because I don't have it on my dumb phone. I thought this was going to be a huge adjustment to not be able to listen to whatever audiobooks and podcasts I want at any time, which is primarily what I did when I was at work before, was listen to audiobooks and podcasts on Spotify. But I have an iPod, so what I'm doing now is I have like 10 or 15 podcasts that I am subscribed to, and I just refresh the podcasts once a week or so, and I download episodes that I want to listen to. So again, quality over quantity is what's happening for me now because I only download the episodes that I'm interested in listening to. And then that's all I have. You know, I only have like 5 or 10 episodes of each of my 15 or so podcasts on my iPod at any given time. And that's fine. You know, I ended up subscribing to Audible. I'm probably just going to do that for like 2 or 3 months, long enough to, and I'm going to buy several audiobooks that I'm interested in having, as well as using the credits. So at the end of my Audible subscription, which I'm sure again, will only be 2 or 3 months. I plan on having like maybe 20, 25 audiobooks. Right now I probably have 15 or so. So yeah, that isn't a huge adjustment. Like, I'm realizing, again, quality over quantity. I am much more intentional and mindful about what I choose to listen to, and I'm engaged with the things that I'm choosing to listen to a lot more. I was spending a lot of time before on Spotify just trying to find something to listen to, and everything was, new all the time. Novelty, everything's new. Like, I was not re-listening to podcast episodes or audiobooks. I was not re-listening. I've just repeated myself. I was not re-listening, and I was not, like, really paying that much attention to what I was doing. It was just like a podcast episode would end, and then I would go find something else to listen to. And it was just, like, so much information coming at me all the time that I wasn't really giving myself time to digest any of it. Whereas now, I've got my iPod on me at work all day, and most of the time, I don't even listen to podcasts and audiobooks anymore. Like, I still do sometimes, but for the most part, I'm listening to music now, and it's so much more satisfying because it's, to me, like, the experience of listening to music versus an audiobook or a podcast is that it's more spacious. It leaves more room for you, because you can kind of daydream while listening to music without feeling like you missed something, And I also, like, when I need to, like, take my headphones out and like, interact with a coworker or a patron at the library or whatever, it doesn't feel like I'm being interrupted as much now. I mean, obviously, if I'm totally vibing to a song, I would rather be vibing to a song than talking to a patron at the library, but for the most part, I think I'm more approachable now, because I don't know, I'm not, like, constantly in distraction now, because before, like, not only was I, like, listening to audiobooks or podcasts most of the time, so I was trying to pay attention to what someone was saying in an audio format, and I would get interrupted by a patron at the library to help them find something or whatever. But I was also getting interrupted constantly by, like, text messages or other notifications on my phone, or, also interrupted by myself, because I would be constantly thinking about things that I needed to look up, so I'd constantly be pulling my phone out of my pocket. Like, every 5 minutes, I was just constantly, whereas now, I've got my iPod in my pocket, and I'm listening to something. That's it. My iPod's not going to interrupt me with any notifications. I have more, I don't know, it's just, I mean, obviously the downside to switching to an iPod instead of listening to Spotify on the go is that I have to own all of the things that I listen to, for the most part. Like, obviously, podcasts are still free, thankfully, but I have to buy the audiobooks I listen to, and I have to buy and not always, like, sometimes I can digitize audiobooks that I check out from the library as well. They just don't have a lot of stuff that I want to listen to at my library. But, so, I have been spending more money on music lately, but it's been totally worth it. I've been just repeatedly listening to music that I just really like right now, and it's put me in a much more peaceful, blissed out state when I'm at work. Like, I'm just dancing around, enjoying the music, doing my work, because for the most part, like 80% of the time I'm working behind the scenes, so I'm just shelving so I can listen to whatever. And I love it. I thought that this was going to be a huge downside, not having Spotify with me anymore, and it's not. There have been a few times where I've written down a song that I wanted to listen to that I didn't have on my iPod. But, like, that's it. There's been, like, 5 times that that's happened, and I've just bought the song later when I got home, so it's fine. So, and I have no problem with, like, as far as spending money on things, I am totally happy to spend money on music again. Because my iPod was a little sad earlier this month. Because there was just, like, a lot of music that I've gotten used to listening to on Spotify that I don't own. And yeah, anyway, I thought that was going to be a huge issue, and I actually prefer my life with less Spotify in it. Because there was just so much time I was wasting being on Spotify trying to find something to listen to. Whereas with my iPod, you know, there's not a huge number of choices. I mean, there is, because I do have a lot of stuff on there, but it's all stuff I want to listen to. I can shuffle my entire iPod, and, like, yeah, there's going to be stuff that's totally wrong for whatever vibe, and it will be awkward sometimes, but for the most part, I'm going to enjoy everything that comes up. So I just really prefer my iPod to Spotify. So that was an upgrade, even though I thought it was going to be a huge downside. And this, obviously your mileage may vary. Like, if you're a person that doesn't own any of your own music, this is going to be a bigger problem for you. I was going from owning a lot of my own music and already owning an iPod. I was just transitioning more to it. So I was already halfway there with that particular thing. Camera. Camera's the next thing that I was really worried about. And I'm not going to lie, the camera in my Dumbphone is terrible. But it's been kind of rewarding to use, because it's like, okay, if the picture's shitty, it's like, well, this camera's shitty, so of course the picture's shitty. But if I take a good picture with it, I give myself the credit for it. It's like, I took a good picture with this? I must be an amazing photographer. So I did end up buying a digital camera, because the camera in my Dumbphone is so terrible, and I didn't already have a digital camera. I haven't been using it that much, but it's nice to have. You know, like, I'll use it on vacations or hikes or times that my cats are being particularly cute. I'll just use my digital camera for that, and it's fine. No problem. So that wasn't a huge issue either, even though I thought it would be. One thing that I wrote, this is a little hard to quantify because it's just general convenience. I was worried that everyday things I'd want to look up and I'd have to remember to write down for later. Yeah, I mean, like I said in previous videos in this series, like, I just have a little purse notebook that I carry around with me. I mean, I carry a lot more things around with me now, but I am absolutely fine with that, actually. It's easier to remember what I want to do. You know, if I take my camera out of my purse, it's because I want to take a picture. If I take the notebook out of my purse, it's because I want to write something down. If I take my iPod out of my purse, it's because I want to listen to something. Like, it's easier for me to keep track of what I want to do. It's easier for me to prioritize and keep track of what I'm doing and my own productivity on the go when I don't have the internet there to distract me at all times. It's been amazing. It's the best change I think I have made for myself in a really long time. And I've made some good choices for myself this year. Like, I have actually significantly improved my life in 2024 in several ways. And this is possibly the best of any of them. So that was the list of the things that I was worried about. I wrote down other devices I'd potentially feel the need to carry around. Camera, iPod. Yeah, I did. It's fine. Okay, so that's that list. And if you guys want me to do, I don't know if anyone would be interested in this, but if you would want me to do sort of a Q&A or something, like because I've gotten a lot of comments from people saying, wow, maybe I should do this. So if there are any particular things that you would be worried about navigating with a dumb phone, I probably won't be able to answer all of those things, but I might be able to provide some insights. If you have any questions, I mean, obviously ask me them anytime, but yeah, just comment below if you have any specific questions. I can address them in a future video in this series. Let's see. What was I was gonna talk about next was the math. Oh my god. Okay, let me see if there's anything else that I didn't say in my video, my Get Ready With Me video, that I wanted to say before I get into the math. I'm trying to I was trying to write down ideas for rules that I could make for myself as far as limiting my internet beyond just, obviously I don't have the internet when I'm on the go now, but I still have my laptop and I still have my desktop computer. I'm still using the internet a lot when I'm at home. But ultimately, yeah, I'm not really limiting that yet. I think it's going to happen kind of naturally that I'm just, because the internet isn't as compelling on my $200 Chromebook. The internet isn't as compelling on a desktop device. It's just, you do what you need to do, you get in, you get out, and I'm like that with my laptop for the most part too. You get in, you get out. I'm not really spending a ton of time doing time suck things on the internet, and I've deleted Instagram, so I no longer have the addictive scrolling thing, besides YouTube. YouTube is still an algorithmically driven thing that can be quite distracting, and I can get sucked into it for hours at a time. But lately I haven't enjoyed really anything. I keep clicking on videos on YouTube, and then I watch it for a minute or two and I'm just bored and I stop watching it. So I don't know. I might take a bit of a YouTube sabbatical. I took one earlier this year as far as posting. I took 3 months off of posting on YouTube, but I didn't take 3 months off watching YouTube. And my internet, I usually do a no internet February every year, but I was not super successful with it this year. I didn't do a good job sticking to it. So I've been thinking that I'd like to do some kind of internet sabbatical or something. I might just do it would make sense to do it during Virgo season, Are we in? No, we're not in Virgo season yet. It's still early August. So yeah, maybe I'll do that. Hermit season 2024. Maybe I'll do a no internet hermit season or something. I'll have to think about that, but I just thought about that just now. Let's see. I made a list of all the apps that I deleted and all the programs or all the accounts that I deleted, because I did sort of a mass deletion the other day. I wrote, ultimately I haven't given anything up, really. I traded WhatsApp for Signal, traded smartphone for flip phone, traded Goodreads for paper, because I'm just keeping a list of the books that I read now. And losing Instagram, Tumblr, Discord isn't losing at all. If pressure is lifted, I am free. Did I delete Discord? I guess I did. I wrote it down. Oh my god. I think a therapist would tell me I shouldn't have done that. You know, that mass deletion that I did the other day. But, I mean, I did it. I got to deal with the fallout now. Anything else I want to share before I get into math? Oh, I was, lately, like I think I've said this in almost every video in this series so far, which is that I feel like I'm coming back to myself again, and I realized, like, the scientific term for that this week. I just remembered, something reminded me of it. Oh, I think it was because I'm re-listening to the audiobook Stolen Focus by Johann Hari. And he was talking about the default mode network. It's essentially like, it's your sense of self. It's like when everything is taken away, like all other stimulus, when you're just sort of in your default state, your sense of self is your default mode network. And so I just wrote down, like, oh, okay, that's the thing that I'm getting back. Because I really feel like my sense of self, like, I feel more content without external validation now. Because I'm not constantly having these, it almost felt like every time I was pulling my smartphone out of my pocket to, like, look something up, check something, like, whatever it was, it always felt like this sort of desperation and anxiety that was leading me to pull the phone out of my pocket. And that aspect of my daily life is just gone now. And I have even, like, at first I was definitely picking up my devices, picking up my iPod, picking up my phone, checking things on it. And I still do that to a certain extent. I'm always looking at the weather on my Dumbphone because there's nothing else to look at. There's nothing else to check on. So that almost makes me think maybe I shouldn't have weather. Like, because I can just go outside and see. But anyway, that's the only thing I can really check on my phone. So I have been looking at it, like, kind of a lot. But that sort of checking behavior, that sort of anxiety, like, it's starting to dissipate. Like, now whenever there are those random moments where suddenly you have no stimulus, I just see them as peaceful moments now. I don't see them as spaces to fill with stimulation. Which is, I mean, I'm telling you guys, in every possible way. I mean, I'm less stressed. I'm able to just sit with silence. I mean, this is all just, you know, when I'm out and about. Like, I'm still kind of, like, compulsively going to my laptop when I'm at home for similar reasons that I would be going to a smartphone. Which is why I know I need to do, like, I've already been thinking, like, I'm not going to get rid of my laptop anytime soon, but I've already been thinking, okay, there might be a time, a year or two in the future, where I decide to take that aspect of my life out too, because right now I have two computers, essentially. I have a laptop and I have a desktop. And it's been really fun to have a laptop, to have, like, sort of the portable computing device, especially now that I don't have a smartphone. But do I need a portable computing device? I don't know. So eventually that may be another thing that I decide to let go of, but yeah, it's just thinking in the future, possibly. I wrote down, it's weird to think that there are genuine adults out there that don't know what it's like without smartphones. I mean, like, the first iPhone came out in 2008. Arguably, it would not be considered the first smartphone, but even if we just think about that, the first iPhone was 2008. That was 16 years ago. So anyone, basically anyone under 20, probably doesn't really remember the world before smartphones. And for me, it's been just a bad thing. It's just bad. It was just bad for me. It was just bad for me. It turns out somebody made an analogy. I was watching like a Dumbphone video, and somebody made the analogy that like smartphones are essentially like a Swiss Army knife. Like every single thing that a Swiss Army knife does, the dedicated version of whatever that is would do it better. Like if you had actual nail clippers, it would work better than the weird little scissors that come in the Swiss Army knife. Like you're only using the Swiss Army knife because it's the thing that you have on you, and it will do the job okay. And I thought, oh, that's a really good analogy, because I much prefer iPod to, I mean, I had access to every single bit of music that the internet has to offer in my pocket before. And that still sounds really cool to me, but in practice, it was overwhelming. I was overwhelmed like all the time in the last 14 years of having a smartphone. And now I'm not. So I absolutely recommend it. Okay, so here's where we get into the math. The last time I gave you guys some detailed financial information, it was a train wreck in my comment section. So I know that people like get weird about finances, but I don't know. I'm gonna talk about it. So this is just looking at smartphone versus dumbphone from a financial perspective. So I did my own personal math. I am not a mathematician. I'm sure that I made some mistakes. But to my recollection, over the last 14 years, because I got my first smartphone, it was an iPhone 3GS. I believe it was 2010. Because I know that I got Instagram in 2010, and I don't see how I would have used it without a smartphone. So I'm pretty sure it was 2010 that I got the iPhone 3GS. I have had 8 smartphones in the last 14 years that I've been using smartphones. This is a low ball estimate, but I'm pretty sure. So just talking about the cost of the phone itself, having 8 smartphones in the last 14 years, I'm pretty sure I spent somewhere around $3,000 on just the phones. Then I was like, what about cases? Because in the beginning, my first couple of iPhones, like, I was like, I want a case for every season. So I'd have like literally 4 cases for each phone. I remember the coolest case I ever had. It was like, it looked like grandpa pants. Like it was a fabric over a hard shell. It was for my 3GS. And it was like, yeah, it was like a tweed looking fabric. That was my fall case. But anyway, I estimate that I likely had at least 4 cases over the lifetime of each smartphone. I actually need to recalculate that number because I had forgotten one of the phones that I had, but whatever, it's fine. Like, this isn't exact numbers anyway. So essentially, if I had 4 cases, oh, that's easy math to recalculate. 4 cases for each of 8 smartphones. I'm estimating that each case cost at least $25 because some were significantly less and a few were a little bit more. Like, I was never a person that spent like $60 on a case or more. Like, probably the most I ever spent was $40 or $45 on a case. So it's, yeah, $25 per case times 4 for each phone times 8 for 8 smartphones is $500 motherfucking dollars that I spent just on cases in the last 14 years. Now let's talk about cell phone service, because, you know, it costs more. It costs more for smartphone, cell phone service in general. Like, there are other options now, thankfully. So if you have a smartphone and you're still paying, you know, if you're not paying for the phone itself, which most people are, I guess, because it's like, you know, you're paying for the phone and you're paying for the service, so it's probably like $80+ for your cell phone bill. Mine, for the most part, like, I'm just counting the service itself outside of the cost of the smartphones, because that was a different metric here. But so having cell phone service for a smartphone, about $50 a month for 14 years is $600 per year, times 14 years is $8,400. So if you add all of this up, the money I spent on the phones themselves, the money that I spent on the cases for the phones, and the money that I spent on the cell phone service, that's $12,000. And that's probably not accurate. It's probably actually slightly more than that. So I was spending almost $1,000 a year just to have a dumb phone, or smartphone, just to have a smartphone. So then I did some dumb phone projections for the next 14 years, just to compare just the financial aspects here. So I just bought the dumb phone that I got, if you're interested, is a Sunbeam Bluebird. It was $250. My cell phone plan that I just switched to has 5 gigabytes of data, unlimited talk and text. I likely will not need all of that data, because that's just the only data that I use, really, besides checking the weather, is for hotspot usage, which I haven't really used the hotspot on my dumb phone hardly at all in the first month. So likely I'll be able to get an even cheaper plan, but that's the plan that I ordered on Tello. 5 gigabytes a month data, unlimited talk and text. So it's $14 a month times 14 years, $2,352. I estimate that I will likely need at least 3 phones in the next 14 years. So if they each cost $250, that's $750. I also calculated in other devices that I use on a regular basis now that I have a dumb phone. So it costs $250 for my iPod, shouldn't need to replace it. And it costs $120 for my digital camera, also shouldn't need to replace it. So that total is $3,472. So $12,000 versus $3,500 in Dumbphone Life. Big difference. Huge. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting metrics if you want to think about it from a financial perspective, because I've been kind of a little bit more focused on finances this year, weirdly, because it's like, you know, I have chosen this life where I make barely above minimum wage and I work 20 hours a week. I am lucky that I can scrape by on that. But my life was getting hard because of, you know, the fact that everything costs so much more now. So I've made some good decisions for myself this year. Like, I'm doing my internet no-buy, which has saved me a lot of money just in and of itself. I was able to find a more affordable home insurance and car insurance plan for me and Michael. So that saved us a lot of money. I needed to replace an iPad this year. I replaced it with a $200 Chromebook. Obviously I'm replacing a smartphone, which now smartphones cost anywhere between $700 to $2,000. I don't know. I mean, I know you can still get cheap Android phones, which totally serviceable. But I have the only smartphone that I've ever gotten that wasn't an iPhone was a Samsung, and that was still very expensive. So anyway, it's just like, I feel so free now because I'm making these decisions that they're much more self-directed, you know, like I'm doing exactly what I want to do instead of being jerked around by my smartphone, you know? I kind of felt out of control of my life, and I think that was part of the reason that I was having such a big problem with online shopping, because it felt like a stress relief valve to take control of, okay, I'm going to buy this thing. This is going to be, like, the decision to buy something felt like a measure of control, but it wasn't. It was an illusion. So, you know, making the decision to have the online no-buy this year directly led to the other better decisions I've made for myself, even down to realizing I could take control of my finances and firing my insurance guy because he wasn't getting us affordable insurance. Like, we kept going to him saying, we can't afford this, because our mortgage payments were going up every year because of the insurance just going up and up and up. And I finally was just like, okay, well, because he would just tell us, well, that's just how it is right now. There's nothing I can do. So I was like, okay, well, let's see. Let's see what I can do. And I found something that was so much cheaper. So much cheaper than what he was getting for us. So I've just been taking control of my life this year, and this is just another aspect of that, switching to a dumb phone. And it's awakening me to so much. I just feel like I'm seeing things clearly in a way that I haven't in a very long time. You know, like, how much of the narrative of these big tech companies are we just accepting? You know? Like, I keep thinking, like, if I were to visit myself from 2005 and tell her this amount of money that I've spent on fucking phones. I mean, back then I just had like a Nokia brick phone. It was like the same phone that I had had since high school. And I never thought about it. I just used it if I needed to call someone. That was it. I'd throw it in the bottom of my purse and forget about it. Like, it would sound so weird to me if I told that version of myself, if I visited my 2005 self and said, in 2024, every 4-year-old that walks down the sidewalk is going to be holding a giant slab of glass. Everyone's going to interact with the world exclusively through internet. No one's going to look at each other anymore. Like, it would sound like such a dystopia, right? There was a scene, because I've been binge watching The Office lately. There was a scene in The Office when it was like Ryan had just gotten hired at the corporate job, and he was visiting the Scranton branch, and he came in with a BlackBerry, and he was like typing a message to someone on the BlackBerry when he walked in the door, and Pam said hi to him, and he was like, hold on, and then he finished his text or whatever it was. And then he looked up at her, and it seemed like the weirdest, grossest, rudest thing in the world in that moment. But that's how we all are now. Anyway. This is just how I am now. I keep waiting to get, like, a nasty comment from someone like, why aren't you talking about tarot? Why are you just why are you conspiracy theory dumbphone person now? But yeah, this is just who I am now. And I'm already starting to question, like, why do I even have a YouTube channel? Like, I do want to share this experience, but once I've kind of adjusted to Dumbphone Life, am I even going to want to do this anymore? I don't know. Like, what am I going to have to say? I mean, maybe it'll just become a pick-a-pile channel, which I've been threatening that for a long time. Anyway, I'm devolving, so I'll go ahead and stop this here. Thank you for watching. Whatever this was. Bye.